What about eggs? Are they healthy? And what about egg whites?
I think I know who asked this question, by the way. So no, no, no. So interesting thing, the USDA. So this is the government now. This is not a plant-based doctor or something like that saying this. The U.S. federal government now, you cannot say for eggs that it's nutritious. You can't say that it's healthy. You can't even say that it's safe, because that would be illegal, misleading marketing aspects, and the FCC and the government will come down and fine you. So they can talk everything else about eggs, right? Which everybody will do, by the way. They'll say how it has low. You can't say that it's low fat. You can't say it's low in saturated fat. Can't say it has phytonutrients. Can't say it has fiber. So, and you can't really say it's a really great source of protein, although they kind of talk around that, right? So at the end of the day, no, it is not healthy. It's not safe. And this is from the people who are lobbied by the way, like who's pushing. I mean, because in every single restaurant, right, for breakfast, or here in New Mexico, every breakfast burrito or huevos rancheros, right, is eggs, eggs, eggs. So we still sell it. We still prove it. We just can't say that it's healthy, nutritious, or safe. So if you can't say that about a food, then what does that tell you? It tells you that it's not healthy. It tells you it's not nutritious, not safe. We still sell it. They sell guns. So I could probably say the same thing. Probably not safe. They still sell it, right? Now you can do whatever you want with it, but probably people are going to get hurt. So it does increase heart disease. Just a study came out the other day showing that one egg a week increases, doubles your risk of prostate cancer for men. 3 eggs a day increases it 81%. So when we see prostate cancer, number one cause of, well, what do we see? High animal protein diet, high dairy, high beef, eggs, bacon, blah, 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 saturated fat, alcohol, blah, blah, lack of exercise, pro-inflammatory foods. Yeah, there's prostate cancer. And when people go to plant-based diets, even Dr. Ornish, many, many years ago in the first studies, showed that you can actually reverse the PSA and actually change the progression of prostate cancer disease by just diet. Obviously, there's a lot of natural things that we can also do to help augment that are in clinical studies and clinical trials and stuff like that. So the idea is that, eggs, I'm not a proponent of. Now, is there, I think you mentioned egg whites. That was the idea that people were saying, well, the yolks have cholesterol, so let's remove it. But it's still a pro-inflammatory food. In fact, when we do food testing on looking at people's immune system, okay, we're not talking about just animal or plant protein, because you can be allergic to gluten, you can be allergic to soy or corn or tomatoes, whatever you want, right? But when you look at the testing overall, one of the highest foods that come back in the animal category that is kind of triggering an inflammatory response from an immunological perspective in terms of food sensitivity testing is eggs. In fact, mine was the highest, by the way. If you read my book, you hear some of if you watch my video from the Truth About Health last year, I give my introduction. I'm not going to do it this year. I'm going to start off in a different section. But if you understand that, you'll say wow, my chronic eczema was due to eggs. And I had a delayed reaction. About 72 hours later after eating eggs, I get chronic eczema since age 2 up until 34, until I went plant-based, and then it went away completely because I'm not eating it. Again, from a different perspective, right? But eggs are not nutritious. Now, there is plant-based eggs options out there. There's one that's made out of mung bean protein. I use it every once in a while. I want to have scrambled egg, want to have a kind of a standard, IHOP, Denny's type of breakfast. Fine. It just still doesn't have the cholesterol, still has, it's one of the things that's a healthier option. So I'm not a big, people can have tofu scrambles. There's all these sorts of new kind of these, plant-based egg options, but I'm not an advocate of people eating eggs. So that's why vegetarians now have to even tighten up the diet even more, because vegetarians ate more eggs and more dairy. And the data is showing that those out of the animal proteins are sometimes the worst.
Should we eat whole food plant-based fats like raw seeds, raw nuts, raw olives, and avocados, or should we limit them?
We should eat them, but also depends on how much you're eating, right? Like we can overdo so much. I give you an example. That doesn't mean everything has to be raw, but from the inference of the question is that raw food or real food is better, right? So, but do I have my patients eat nut butters? Absolutely. The problem we have to be careful with nut butters is the extra added oil or sugar, right? So I can go get like a sunflower seed butter. That's I use because I'm allergic to nuts, right? So I'm using some. But if I go to the store, I can see like 4 or 5 different types. There's one that says added sugar or no sugar. There's one with added oil. I'm just looking at just getting the sunflower seeds and having it blended with no extra added oil or sugar. That's what I eat. It's as clean as you can get, right? Now, some people go to the health store and you can see that they have like, they grind their own nuts into nut butters. That's fine because you're not, but what you'll see is sometimes when you get it when you get it prepackaged, if they add a lot of oil, there's a lot of oil on top. Now, there's going to be a certain amount of fat in the nuts itself. So if you did it yourself, there's still going to be some oil over time. But a lot of times that's the thinning out. So if you see like, if it says like peanut butter or cashew butter, and then it says sunflower, safflower, canola, blah, blah, oil, then that's just giving you less peanut nut butter in your jar, right? That's just, or adding sugar a lot of times because, tastes good, right? Sweet and fat and oil. And also it's another way to make sometimes lesser quality nuts taste better, right? So someone's like, I can give you third rate nuts. If I throw more sugar in there, it's going to taste a lot like, it's going to taste like a candy. So we got to be careful of that. The other thing is people who are trying to lose weight. That's the issue with the nuts and seeds. I tell people, they always say like an ounce a day. The problem with like the oils, so like the refined fats, olive oil and those kind of things, using it a little bit for cooking is fine. I don't like using olive oil on the pan because you don't want to, remember it's a high smoke, low smoke point. So you don't want to, you don't ever want to cook like fry with olive oil, even though most people do. It just oxidizes. It's terrible. So there's other types of oils, but oil is not a health food. So even though it says superfood on the bottle of the store, it's not good for you. It's a refined product. So avocado, sunflower, safflower, all those things like that, grapeseed. We use that in cooking all the time, but I use it for like kind of minimally, sparingly, because I just need to if you get the right kind of pan, for example, then you don't have to use all that stuff as much, right? So the idea is that that's just one of the switches. The other thing is a heavy fat calories. So when we look at a tablespoon of oil being about 200, 210 calories, depending on the source, then, people who are trying to lose weight, it's like they're putting oil. Say you've had an Italian restaurant, they put the oil, and they put the herbs, and they're dipping their bread, like that. Well, a tablespoon is not much. So they'll put like 3 or 4 tablespoons. You already had 1,000 calories before you even had the meal, the pasta and the wine and the dessert. And so people are like, I can't lose weight. The carbs. It's not necessarily the carbs all the time is the problem. The problem is that you're having oils, a heavy nutrient dense food. Now, where that can be beneficial, though, for cancer patients or people who have problems with digestion or they're losing weight, how can we increase their caloric intake? Very simply, if they're having issues, is adding more of the fats that way because it's easier to consume, higher nutrient density. Also, people have gut issues. So, I'm not a big raw person until the person's microbiome and gut. So if they have like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, they have low digestive enzyme functioning when we test them. They have other digestive issues. Then having like raw seeds and nuts can actually it's just hard for them to break it down, and then they have more issues with the diverticulitis or diverticulosis issues of just because the seeds can actually impact and cause some inflammation in the colon. So that's where sometimes using a seed butter or nut butter would be beneficial. But yes, we have to be careful because people kind of go on the spectrum of like just eating cans and cans of nuts, and they're like, I can't lose weight. It's a high calorie, but people should be eating seeds and nuts to get the healthy fats. So yes, avocados and all the seeds that you mentioned, we like that. Just within a realm of like how much is too much. Well, you want to look at like you need some for the healthy fats. I recommend with my patients, since I'm a little bit more of a foodie, if I have seeds and nuts, I usually get raw and also get roasted. Now, roasted has less nutritional content, but roasted always, for me, has always a little bit better flavor in the way it's a little crunchy. So I get a bag of, say, organic sunflower seeds and a bag of organic roasted sunflower seeds. I mix them, put it in a jar, put a little bit of tamari or put a little cayenne or put a little bit of Himalayan salt if you want, and then shake it up. And then you get that kind of best of both worlds.